You are now entering Night Storm Nation.
All I have to say is this.
Child abuse.
If you are one of those people
Divorce.
that have been put down all of your life,
Infidelity.
beat up and trapped in a pit of woe,
Depression.
it is time for you to stand up with the Night Storm Nation, because we aren't going anywhere.
I'm YG Nightstorm, the man not afraid to be transparent, as I help real people with real issues. And my co-host is my queen, my stunningly gorgeous wife.
This is Toby George Nightstorm, the woman not afraid to tell the truth about things as they really are. And this is Nightstorm Radio. Radio gone real because we are you.
Yeah, now Nightstorm Nation in the ATL. You can call in at 443-55-8699. And to all the Nightstorm Nation members around the country, call in at 1-866-923-2860. You can also find out more about us, the Night Storms, at nightstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. And you can also listen to our show from the Talk Radio page of the website as well, and on love860.com, baby.
Ooh, that's right. And all you smartphone owners out there, don't forget that you can download the app of either iHeartRadio, Tunein Radio, or iRadionow. Look under the Talk Radio section and find us on Love 860 AM. Take us where you go, anywhere, everywhere, all day. We're there for you.
Yeah, so, baby, what's on tap for today, sweetheart?
Well, today we're going to be talking to some very interesting people, as we do every Thursday here on Nightstorm Radio.
Right,
and we'll be
right.
discussing our inner image and how it affects our life and the way we handle our business. And also, ladies, we are going to be talking about self-defense. So we need to know how to protect ourselves and methods to keep us in shape and in defense and
Just handling y'all business
handling
all
our
together.
business and doing what we do.
That's right, that's right. So that sounds real good. Now, if you don't mind, please, can we continue with this show? Because we got some good stuff coming, ain't that right, baby?
Yes, sir. As always, we like to start things off with a letter from our wonderful Nightstorm Radio listeners, because we always keep our ears open to you, Nightstorm Nation. And remember that you can email your letters to the Nightstorms at nightstorm.com. And that's NYGHTSTORMS, because it's two of us.
Yep.
Even though YG would like to think it's just his show at times.
Oh, my
It's
God.
the
My
Nightstorms, plural,
My queen.
at nightstorm.com.
Haven't you beat me up about that enough? Once jacking me up in the corner, kicking me down the stairs, and burying me in the basement, ain't that punishment enough for my hubris?
And I unburied you just long enough to come out and do this show.
Just to slap me around some more. All right,
Back in
anyway,
the
we
hole.
going to this letter.
Yes, Harry Potter, back under the stairs you go.
Okay. Okay. Now, Nightstorm Nation, we going to get into this letter before the queen beat me up some more. All right, now, let's get serious. Can we, my queen?
Go ahead.
Thank you. All right, now it says, I have been struggling to get my life on track for many years, but it seems that for every step forward I take, I fall back 5. I struggled in school, and as an adult, I either have problems landing a job, or if I do get one, I don't keep it long, no matter how hard I try, or whatever I do, employers always ask me to leave. Now, I am barely making ends meet, and I am ashamed that I have to constantly ask for help. I'm in a relationship, but I have no intentions on marrying them until I have myself together, because there is no way I am going to bring a wife into a mess or even consider having a child. Okay, that's good so far. Now, I don't know what I am doing wrong, and at times I feel hopeless on how to fix it. I feel like a failure at everything I try, and I am at my wit's end. Any suggestions coming from your faithful Nightstorm Radio listener, Tony? Okay. All right, now, Tony, I want to say thank you for your letter, and I honestly appreciate your transparency on this. And I understand what you're going through, brother, because many years ago, before the Queen and I started getting into entertainment and doing the things that we're doing, I struggled. You know, when I went through my first divorce in the year 2000, I was struggling too. I didn't have any skills to pay the bills, even though I had all the intentions to try to get into entertainment. I had children, and things just weren't happening. And at least you're smart enough, sir, not to get married and bring a wife into something that's unstable, because you have to be stable or even thinking about kids. So A+ for you on that. But I understand the fact if you're thinking that you failed at everything because you tried everything and you keep losing your jobs and you're wondering what's going on. And I was there, you know, and sweetheart, this is very, very tough for a man to admit, you know, and Tony, that takes a lot of, I'll just say gonads to even say that. And the fact that you are humble enough to even do that shows that the intentions that you're going to have, you're going to find success somewhere. But the fact that you're willing to find help, that's step number one. Now we got to start getting some things together in your life, sir. Find some things that you are good at. And if you're not good at a traditional career, you're going to have to bust your butt, sir, and create a job for yourself because you're listening to somebody who has created a job for himself. Okay.
Exactly. And then a lot of times, and even though we can't do anything about, you know, bad decisions or choices that we made, we can use those as teaching lessons for ourselves. Yeah. Where did we misstep? What's the decision that we could have made or should have made or we didn't? It could be a thing of going back to school. And I know you got to have money in the meantime while you go to school. Right. But it could be something as simple as that, or, excuse me, or it could be, you know, an advice that someone gave you in your past that you need to think about, maybe I should listen to them and let's go over here, go over there. God present opportunities to us in different forms. It may not be traditional. It can be a simple conversation. As I always tell my children, closed mouths don't get fed. If you want something, if you have a desire to do something, open your ears and listen. It could be someone having a conversation at the next table in McDonald's, you know, and you can just hear and go, you know, excuse me, don't mean to intrude on your conversation, but I'm interested in this and that. And we, you know, whatever. You don't know what God is putting right in front of you. So keep your ears open, sit down, reflect on things that you may have misstepped on and build yourself a plan to move forward.
Yeah, and they can always write a book about all their mistakes like I did.
Well, whatever works.
Whatever works. So, well, we are experts in this, but it's always good, sweetheart, when we bring on other experts that can help the Night Storm Nation as well. Am I right, baby?
That is absolutely correct.
So, Jared, if you could cue that music, please, so I can introduce her properly. Yeah. Now, Night Storm Nation, we play 5-Star Chick because she is a 5-star chick. Our first guest is an inner image expert, keynote speaker, author, retreat leader, producer, and talk show host. She made her stage debut at the tender age of 4 and has performed all over the world. An award-winning recording artist and performer, she has also developed a thriving business in the field of personal development. She has touched hundreds of lives and assisted them in breaking through inner limiting beliefs, old habits, and dysfunctions, leading them to true financial health and well-being through her whole health method. So, ladies and gentlemen of Night Storm Nation, new listeners of Night Storm Radio, as well as those of you who love us from the beginning, it is our honor, privilege, and pleasure to introduce to you Mrs. Deborah Bishop. Yes! Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for that awesome and energized introduction. I absolutely appreciate that, and I am just jazzed to be here, delighted.
Yes, ma'am, we want to welcome you to Night Storm Radio and your whole wealth method. Yes. And I have a question for you. Now, you grew up in Vancouver, Canada, and you were a highly recognized performer in the arts, and you studied at the Royal Conservatory in Canada, won numerous awards. What made you switch gears and get into speaking?
Well, you know, I haven't exactly switched gears. I use my music and my theatrical background and so forth in the speaking that I do today. So whenever possible, I do what I call a keynote performance. and I'm an inspirational artist. My music, my art has transformed, and so I use that to help deliver that message even further. Because what I've found is that, when you sit and listen to a speaker, and I know I've experienced this both sides, I've done this myself, the speaker starts talking about that topic that's the most important one, the one you really got to hear, the one that's really going to change your life, and they say something and you immediately go to a place of like, well, I didn't do it like that. Well, I wonder if I should have done it. Well, how would that have been? And you get totally into your story. You've checked out completely from the speaker on stage, and about 10, 15, 20 minutes later, you kind of clue back in, and you missed it. And what I have found is if you put entertainment, if you put music, if you put comedy, if you put something there that entertains and captivates, that doesn't happen. It's like that self-comparison and that analysis paralysis that goes on stops because people are caught up in the moment of that entertainment. And so I have found it a great gift to incorporate in this sort of transition of my life and deliver a message. To me, that's what it was all about to begin with. I didn't know it at the time, but that was all that it was about to begin with, is that entertainment background serving up this place of inspiration where I'm really able to impact and people can really come from an open heart.
Okay, and something, I'm glad you brought that up about adding these entertainment elements to the important message behind your speech, because Toby and I, we've been speakers for a long time, and we have heard folks speak, ma'am, and they can have all the knowledge in the world, but they are dry and they are so boring, okay? And even if you can have the best information, but if you can't get it across to the folks, it falls on deaf ears. So I want to ask you this. Now, on the homepage of your website, because we've done a fair amount of research on you, ma'am, we saw something really interesting in the opening lines. And it says, I quote from you, when you've had enough of not having enough, and you've tried it all, and it's still not working, it is turn within and discover who you really are. And that really spoke to us, and it also really harkens to our NYGHTSTORM Nation emailer who emailed what his troubles are. So, ma'am, can you explain, with your expertise, what whole wealth means to the NYGHTSTORM Nation, please?
Absolutely. Whole wealth, actually. One of my specialties and where most people come to see me is they want more resource in their life. They need more money. They need to have more professional success. That's kind of the driving force that brings them to the table. And, of course, I help people to make a lot more money in their lives because, to put it quickly, I help them to go through the emotional healing to then have a healthy relationship to money, because it is the most dysfunctional, disconnected, but committed relationship in our life. That we all got to deal with. But whole wealth isn't just about the money, because people can have a ton of money, but they don't have health. They don't have good relationships. They don't have good communication. So it's about having it all, literally, having the time freedom, having a family, having good communication, solid relationships, and, of course, having a surplus of income in your life, too. Because, you know what, it may not be all about the money, but money sure pays for most of it.
I think she is preaching right now.
Exactly.
She is telling the truth.
Exactly, because that's the one thing that you found that we have definitely personally found is it kind of get lopsided. Kind of lopsided as you have the money, but you need this, or you got everything you need and you don't have the money. So that combination is magical when you can make it all happen. Now, what type of programs do you offer?
Well, the Whole Wealth Breakthrough is actually my signature system, and that's where 98% of my clients start with me, although I do a lot of work with other coaches and consultants as well, and I have kind of a hybrid system that I bring them into, because I want to pay heed and honor the education and the certifications and things they're already bringing to the table. But for pretty much across the board, everybody else, and even a few of them, the Whole Wealth Breakthrough is where we get started, and that's where the Whole Wealth methodology comes forth. And it's really a process. It takes 12 weeks, and during that time we have 9 conversations that are very guided and very impactful. And the neat thing about it is I've created something that people are able to get a hold of and apply to their life immediately. That's how the change happens as quickly as 12 weeks. And what we're looking at is the inner programming, the stuff that you don't know that's stopping you every single time. And that started so long ago, and I'm talking about when we're very small, when we're children, when we're in that place of learning and absorbing and seeing ourselves at the source of everything. That's a beautiful time in our life, but it's a very vulnerable and impactful time in our life, too. And what this process is, it goes back to explore that and to explore what we call the foundational lie, which is when a child doesn't feel safe for the very first time in their life. It might be that they recognize mom and dad are fighting for the first time, or in the case of one of my clients, their teddy bear disappears, or it's a myriad of things. But what happens is the child's nirvana, their normal, is suddenly shifted, and they don't know what to do, and they don't recognize anything as separate from them. So therefore, instead of going, hey, dad hasn't had a job in 6 months, mom's got 2 jobs, the house is a mess, that's why they're fighting, a child doesn't do that. A child goes, what did I do wrong? Oh, how do I fix this? What do I need to do differently? It's part of our survival instinct. And then we immediately take responsibility. We redefine something about ourselves, and boom, a foundational lie is born, and that grows into all these incredible belief systems which try to support our survival and keep us from pain and end up limiting us throughout our life. The letter you shared is such a prime example of that. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but it just keeps happening over and over and over again. That's where we go, and we discover that. And then not only do we discover it, but we learn the triggers, we learn how to observe them, realize that they're happening, and then how to redirect that and invent a new conversation, what I call a foundational truth that's going to support us and where we want to be right now, today in our lives.
Wow. And you know, you just broke that down eloquently, and I'm happy that you harken back to Tony's letter, because it's so many folks, and I know we're coming up against a heartbreak, sweetheart, but it's so many folks who have gone through this and who are going through it. And like I said, I share Tony's story, Deborah. Okay, in that place where you're afraid, where we're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Why can't I get this done? And the fact that, ma'am, millions of folks are living through this, and Toby and I call it a case of bad homeostasis. Okay, this stuff started, as you said, from as a child, and they started to create these things in their mind of, well, this is my fault because my parents are going through this and going through that, and these false truths that they have embodied into themselves grow and mature as we do. And the older those false truths get, the harder it is to break that cycle. And we end up in the places where we are. And sometimes we have absolutely no idea how we got there. So, ma'am, I want to appreciate you even breaking this down eloquently. And Tony, I hope you're listening and Deborah is really talking to not just you, but millions of folks in the Night Storm Nation. Now, and she also enlightened me. I wish, ma'am, you was around 20 years ago. Because you could have helped old YG Nightstorm with some of his issues. But when I married the queen, she kind of helped me through a whole bunch of that. She's like, hey, you better get it together so you can take care of me, boy.
Now see.
The mere fact of that 20 years ago statement, I wish I was around 20 years ago, too, because I really needed me at that time.
Everybody needed you at that time. Okay, but we're about to go to break. And when we get back, we are going to get even more in depth with Deborah Bishop on all of her programs that she's doing, especially this Whole Wealth. Just get the name, the Whole Wealth. This encompasses everything. Mm-hmm. She's saying it's not just about the money, people, because plenty of folks got money and are still broken. It's not just all about the things that you aspire to in this world, because you can have it all and have absolutely nothing. But we're going to break it down. We're going to fix this stuff right here on Night Storm Radio on Love 860 AM, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. See you on the other side of the break. You ever been so depressed to where you want to hurt yourself? Because life has been unkind, unfair, and unforgivable. Folks done hurt you and thrown you away. Yeah, I know. Because I was there too. Until I read this book by YG Nightstorm called All Action No Talk. This dude has been there, man. He understands us. He was homeless, abused as a child, abandoned by his dad, and even his oldest son passed away.
I'm encouraged because if this dude can make it, so can I, and so can you. So check it out at NYGHTSTORM.com, NYGHTSTORM, and know that you have the strength to change your life despite adversity, like him, like me, like you.
Hey, you, guy or gal that's listening, are you enjoying the night storms? Good! If you want the 411 on me, YG Night Storm,
And me, Toby George Night Storm, a.k.a. Lady Night Storm, visit nightstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. Check out our informative blogs, videos, and see what Night Storm Nation is doing to benefit the community. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
thanks again for listening to the Night Storms on Night Storm Radio every Thursday at 11 a.m. to noon on Love 860 a.m. Atlanta's inspirational station. We are you.
Hi everyone, it's me, Lady Night Storm, and have I got news for you. Want to know how to keep up with us and what we're doing in the community? It's easy. Just like us on Facebook at Night Storm Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Night Storm Radio and become part of the Night Storm Nation mailing list at nightstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM. Keep up with all our promotions, contests, and latest happenings. Night Storm Radio. We are you.
You are now rocking with the Night Storms on Atlanta's inspirational station, Love 860 AM WAEC. Now back to the show.
We are back, and we are speaking with inner image expert Miss Deborah Bishop. And if you would like to call in and ask a question, please do so here. The number is 404-355-8699 and nationwide 1-866-923-2860.
That's right. Now, Deborah, the Queen and I were on your website. We frequented your website, okay? And you had another quote that caught her eye. She said, baby, you need to read this, okay? And this is what you said that I really, really love. It says, I am teaching others how to have successful futures that are free from the sometimes heartbreaking disappointments of the past. Now, this is deep, because so many of us are being held back because of our past issues, ma'am. So, could you tell us about the services you offer in order to carry out your mission and help folks free themselves and break those chains of the past, ma'am?
Absolutely. And I will harken back to my starting in the entertainment world at 4, just as a precursor to this, because if you want to learn how to move past heartbreaking rejection, just start in the entertainment industry.
Amen.
Yeah, move through that rejection, baby. That's very, very true.
Yes.
But again, my entire methodology breaks down to the whole wealth method, and the whole wealth is the starting point. And it's the clearing ground for all of this, because it's one simple process. It's a deep process. It's an intense process, but it's simple. And it moves people beyond those things in the past that have been devastating them with disappointment. And that's the first place to start, because no matter what else I do, I teach a retreat called For the Love of Money, Turning Your Money Woes into Money Wows and Wins, because I've really determined, after working with hundreds of people and helping them to get that money in their life and have that surplus, that what they do is they turn around and they start looking for how they can contribute to the world, how they can do great things in their community, how they can really follow their dreams, start a foundation. So that's become a mission for me. I want people to have huge cash flow, because then I know they step up and they start living their purpose, and that's inspiring. So I do a retreat based on that. I have a couple of other programs that people usually will move on to once we've gotten through this methodology and broken that legacy of the past and pain. and it helps people to really understand their expertise, to cultivate who they are and turn that into a product, like you were talking about before. If you don't feel like you fit in the traditional, then you got to invent a job. I totally agree with that. We are in the age of the entrepreneur. We have access to the entire planet in a way we've never had before. There is a marketplace before us like we have never known. And believe me, whoever's hearing my voice right now, I bet you have a skill, a knowledge base, a gift that you could bring to the world and that the world would love to receive and pay you for. So there's some work we do around that and really drawing that out, and also helping to develop branding strategies and virtual products. So it's all about clearing the person so that they can truly receive and step in and be their beautiful divine self, and then, take that to the next place and say, okay, what's really in your heart? What's really your passion? Let's make it happen. And taking them through the steps to just go from where they are to where they would really choose to be. And again, what I have found time after time after time is people move into service. They move into this place of giving back. And that is my point of inspiration. That's really why I do it. Because for me, the bottom line is this planet will be taken care of when enough of us truly take care of ourselves. We will love one another when enough of us truly love ourselves. Peace could be possible when enough of us truly love ourselves, because then we can be in acceptance, we can be in forgiveness. We can actually allow people to have different opinions, and it's okay because we don't feel like we have to defend, fight, or try to make ourselves right. Because as long as we're trying to make ourselves right, we just hit wrong situations over and over and over again. I believe that we are all coming from a place of perfection, and we may reach that new perfection every single day, every single moment. It might be bettering and bettering itself, but hey, guess what? We've all done the best that we've known how to do. It's just this: if the best that you've known how to do isn't giving you the best back, then there's some work. And that's what we got to get to, is the work, so that you can get the best back in return.
Wow. Deborah Bishop for president, ladies and gentlemen.
That was excellent, Deborah, and I can definitely hear the performance in you. I wanted to get more into, you said earlier that you have realized that if you entertain people while you're speaking, that you keep their attention and they don't go wandering off and miss the point you're trying to make. So with that, and that little bit of jewel information, could you please tell us a little bit more about Universal Drive-Thru Window?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. This is a really fun topic, and this is where I use some of my music and some of my theatrical performance. In fact, it's based off of a one-woman show that I do. And Universal Drive-Thru Window is this concept that says, what if every time we spoke, we imagined that there was this big, huge drive-through window sitting in front of us, and we were actually placing our order. What if that was actually what was going on? Because everybody relates to a drive-through window. We know, we pull around, we look at the menu, we go, okay, I want A, B, and C, and we pull up and we order it, and we don't really think about it beyond that point. We don't think about what's happening, whether it's good or bad, or unfortunately whether it's healthy or not. And when we pull up to that next window, we just have the entire expectation that we're getting what we ordered every single time. Once in a blue moon, there might be a little tweak to it, but you know what? We know that if we say something, we're going to get it exactly the way that we want it. Well, what if that really were the principle of how it works in life? What if the order that we're placing is exactly the life that we're living? It changes the perspective, because guess what? You start to realize, what am I talking about? Is that what I really want? I mean, seriously, I would say the cooks in the Universal Kitchen, they do not care if it's good, bad, or indifferent, because they don't have that same sort of reference point. They don't go, oh, no, that's not what Deborah really wants. She's just joking. No, it's kind of like, hey, I'll take a marriage with a side of fighting. Sure, why not? And we don't realize that we're just saying, oh, man, I'm so frustrated, I'm so angry, and this is always going wrong, and I don't get it, and it hurts, and it sucks, and I can't get anything right. Well, what if all of those things were literally just going through this ordering system and energetically going out into the world and finding your match and then bringing all that back to you? Maybe if we start saying, life is getting better every day, maybe that order would start to show up. maybe if we start to say, hey, I'm feeling better. I'm getting better and better. I give myself permission to discover how beautiful I am. Maybe if we start to say, hey, I realize that I'm a little bit frustrated, but every day it's getting easier. Maybe if we start saying, I'm finding my purpose today. It's showing up in all sorts of places. Opportunity comes to me from expected and unexpected places. If the drive-through principle works in one direction, meaning if we are putting ourselves over and over and over again into situations that aren't serving us, the beautiful thing is it can work in all directions. We can actually reframe that and start to put ourselves in situations that do serve us, that do bring us happiness, that do bring us wealth. And, the more that we start to do that, the more evidence we gather that it works. And once we have enough evidence going on, it becomes a habit. It becomes a fully functional place in our life where we really realize, wow, I can speak into existence the life that I truly desire to have. Does it take effort? Yes. Does it take some time? Yes. Does it take practice? Yes. Is it possible? Yes.
Now that right there, ma'am, you have hit the target on the mark, because that is the principle that the Queen and I have had to take, okay? And that is the principle that a lot of folks who are dealing with some serious adversity in their lives have to take. And I am happy, ma'am, that there are individual experts like yourself who can help facilitate that mindset, because it takes work in order for people to break that cycle, to break those chains, and it never hurts to get some help. So, ma'am, since you are helping folks so much through this universal drive-through, you order exactly what you want and you get it. Can you tell people how they can reach you so they can go through these drive-throughs and get the type of life they want, ma'am?
Absolutely. There's a couple of things that you can do. Number one, you can go to Whole Wealth Breakthrough, WHOLEWEALTHBREAKTHROUGH, wholewealthbreakthrough.com. You can check that out there, and you can move through and even put yourself on my schedule as you kind of move through. That's a page that'll walk you through some things you could do, share a little bit more with you about who I am. So that's a great place to go look, wholewealthbreakthrough.com. You can also get in touch with me via email. You can go to Whole Wealth Global. So wholewealthglobal@gmail.com is the way that you connect with me. And here's the opportunity. I always extend this. I have an open arm policy. I will receive calls. I will talk to people one-on-one. That is my favorite thing to do. I have a toll-free number, which is 800-582-2772, 800-582-2772. Now, I can't promise I'm going to be answering that line, but I do promise you this. It comes directly to me. I will hear your message. I will call you back.
All right.
So feel free to give me a call, 800-582-2772.
All right. Well, you know something. I want to say thank you so much for joining us here on Night Storm Radio, Deborah. You have been a true blessing. And thank you once again for pushing your message of helping people get what they need. You have yourself a fantastic day, ma'am. All right?
Likewise. It has been my privilege and my pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, Night Storm Nation. I hope you enjoyed our discussion with Mrs. Deborah Bishop.
That was a great discussion.
That was awesome, because it is our goal here on Night Storm Radio to keep Night Storm Nation educated as well as enlightened while we hopefully entertain you, as she said. And now, sweetheart, let us get to our next topic, which is self-defense for women, okay?
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, the world is not always a safe place, and there are people out there who don't have good intentions. And I'm sorry, in a lot of cases, the victims of these ill intentions, baby, are women and little girls. Now, not saying that men can't be victims, because we can. But a lot of these cases are females. And so now, because females, you guys are viewed as the quote unquote weaker sex, because ain't nobody met you yet. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? But you guys are usually the victims of a lot of cases, especially in deadly crimes, baby. I hate to say it.
Yes, because as far as the weaker sex, it's more a physical thing in a lot of cases. Now, we do have our strong, pumped up iron, women out there, but for the most part, we're smaller, we're petite, and I definitely, survive a tussle with somebody your size. They'll know they were in the fight, but
That's why you got me.
Well, hey.
That's why you
But
got
everybody
me.
doesn't have a YG, and we need to know how to defend ourselves because
Right.
over 22 million women in the United States have been raped in their lifetime. And girls aged 16 to 19 are 4 more times likely than the general population to be the victims of rape, attempted rape, or sexual assault. Now, this is according to the Department of Justice in 2010.
Yeah.
But our next guest want to help change that by teaching young ladies and women how to defend themselves so we can counter the statistics. And Jared, if you would be so kind to cue that music, we'll drop some knowledge on Nightstorm Nation.
Oh, yeah. Nightstorm Nation, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Get it, my queen.
Our next guests are the co-founders of Simple Self-Defense for Women, an award-winning company that promotes the personal safety of women through their PBS television specials, DVDs, and their very popular seminars, workshops, and professional speaking engagements. They specialize in self-defense for women from the ages of 9 to 91, with a focus on how to simply escape an attack, not stay and fight. Simple Publications. Now, their mission is to improve the personal safety of women and children on a national level. So, Nightstorm Nation, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Tracy and Charliey Vega. Hello. How are you guys?
We're wonderful. Thanks for having us.
No, thank you for agreeing to come on the show. It's our pleasure.
Yeah, so, all right, now, Tracy and Charliey, I want to say this. I appreciate the fact that you guys are coming on Me and the Queen show and talking about these important aspects of how women can protect themselves. And I know you have been doing this for many, many, many years. So if I may ask you, why are you doing it?
Well, actually, you touched on it a little bit. Statistically speaking, when you turn on the news, it's not usually good. It's bad. It's something bad happened to somebody. 1 out of 3 women in their lifetime will be attacked in some fashion. 1 out of 4 are a victim of domestic violence, and 1 out of 6 are a victim of completed or attempted rape. And these are just terrible statistics, but we have the power to do something about it. And that's why we're here.
Wow. Now, I see that you guys have been featured. I went on your website. I saw your bios, and you've been on Marie Osmond's show, Lifetime Television, Balancing Act, a host of different radio shows, the news, and different publications. How did you get started in doing all this?
Well, I'm going to have to let Charliey tell you the story because you have to visualize him, though, with his hand on his hips as he's telling you this.
Okay, go ahead, Charliey.
Guys will appreciate it.
You guys are a married couple. You would appreciate this. Like I said, we watch the news like everybody else. And I've been teaching martial arts for over 30 years, the traditional martial arts. And I say to my wife that, there's things that you can do to learn how to escape versus fight. And it doesn't have to. You don't have to fight. And this is the part that Tracy is talking about. So she said to me, and I'll pretend my hands are on my hips here, but she said to me, Charliey, if we're going to do something for women and children, you're going to have to understand a couple of things about women. She says, first, they don't want to be thrown around. They're too busy with work and family. They don't have time to go to class after class. They don't want to go to a smelly gym. She says, and they don't want to take their shoes off. Just show them how to get away.
Very good, Tracy.
You nodding along with me there?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
The queen is looking at me like, yes, absolutely true.
Right.
Right.
So that's what our program is. It's not about fighting. You can't teach somebody how to fight an hour or two, but we can show you and teach you how to teach your kids how to get away from somebody much bigger and stronger in our sessions.
Okay, now I understand this because I know we're coming up against a break, but I want to quickly share the fact why I agree with what you guys are doing because Nightstorm Nation is no stranger to my past, and I tell people all the time in 1985 how I was raped as a child by a camp counselor, and it happened to me. And I wanted to start doing martial arts after it happened because I felt helpless. And I know if I felt helpless as a child, and I've been doing martial arts as well, sir, for 20 years, and when a woman is attacked as well, it takes away their power. So in the things that you guys are doing, you're helping to empower women and let them know that they are strong enough to not just have to take something, but they have the power to escape. And when we come back from the break, I want to get more in depth into this wonderful work that you guys are doing, exactly why it is needed. Because as someone who was raped as a child, I understand the violent nature of someone taking your power from you, and I had nowhere to go. I wish someone had taught me techniques on how to escape because he was bigger than me at the time. So we're going to get into that, this very, very important work that they are doing to help empower you ladies on kicking some tail and getting out of there.
Yep, getting away from
So this is Night Storm Radio right here on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station.
We'll be right back.
To all event planners, are you worried that your next corporate get-together is going to be boring?
Then invite the Night Storm to speak at your next event and electrify your organization as we break down how to grow your business, fix broken relationships, and conquer life challenges.
So make your next event epic. Invite me and the Queen to rock the house with inspirational techniques designed to empower individuals and maximize their true potential.
And thanks for listening to Night Storm Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational station.
We are you.
This is Toby George Nightstorm, a.k.a. Lady Nightstorm, and I'm known as the woman not afraid to tell the truth about how things really are. And the truth I have to say to you is you should listen to Nightstorm Radio every Thursday from 11 to noon. And you should also like us on Facebook at Nightstorm Radio. Follow us on Twitter at Nightstorm Radio. And join the Nightstorm Nation mailing list on nightstorm.com. That's NYGHTSTORM.com. Night Storm Radio on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. We are you.
This is YG Nightstorm. And why should you listen to Nightstorm Radio? Because we relate to you or someone you know with topics taken directly from our lives. Every time you tune in, you'll hear a discussion about real subjects that affect real life. Why? Because me and the Queen have been there. So join us right here every Thursday morning from 11 to noon on Love 860 AM WAEC, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station. Night Storm Radio. We are you.
Hello, Nightstorm Nation. This is Toby George Nightstorm, a.k.a. Lady Nightstorm, and I have a question for you. How much are you spending each day on lunch? $6, $7, $10 even? Do you know that for less than what you spend each week on lunch, you can advertise your business or service right here doing the show on Night Storm Radio? Why don't you inbox us on Facebook, send us a message on Twitter, or drop us a line at nightstorm.com. Let us show you how you can get your business or service out in front of the people. Now back to the show.
We are back, and we are speaking with the co-founders of Simple Self-Defense for Women, Tracy and Charliey Vega. Now, before we left for the break, YG was telling about how he also started in martial arts when he was younger, and he has showed, myself and our kids a few moves so that we can try to defend ourselves, take people by surprise because they're not expecting us to be able to know how to do these things. And I understand that you only teach a few techniques. So how does the Simple Self-Defense for Women program work?
Well, the idea is just teaching a few techniques is just so much easier and simpler for people than teaching them 32 moves and they walk out of the room and they're like, oh my gosh, what did I just learn? I don't even know those people's names.
Right.
So we take, we take a couple things and we keep it fun. Just so you guys know, we kind of call ourselves the Sonny and Cher of self-defense. But I don't sing, and Charlie's much taller. But when people are having fun, they're learning something and they're really getting into it. So the idea of teaching just a couple of moves is we teach them and we show them how they can be used in a variety of attacks. whether they were sitting down, whether they're standing, whether they're laying down. So we do it, we keep it simple, and we make it interactive so they can get up and they can try the techniques. And we always make ourselves available because a lot of times people like yourself have been in a situation and they may not want to talk about it there, but they may want to ask us a question later on. So if they stay over, we'll stay over and show them what they could have done, or what maybe could have been done differently, and make sure that everybody feels comfortable and leaves with the information that they need.
Okay, cool. Now, I know with all the self-defense classes that I've seen or, partaken in, they always have you kicking, punching, and screaming. And I'm reading here that you say, no, don't do that. Why is that? Why no kicking, punching, and screaming?
Well, because the reality is that if you really want to be a good fighter, you have to train for years to do that. And even then, if you've noticed in any kind of boxing match, someone still loses.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we feel is we're teaching an age group from 9 to 91. So there's different physical strength, obviously, between that large age group. So our goal is to teach how to escape. If you can escape and not fight, then you're in a much safer position than having to try to fight that person. Because as soon as you start kicking and punching, now you're fighting, and that person's going to be kicking and punching back.
That's true. The dummies don't hit back in the class.
Yeah, no, that's true. And one thing I really want to hearken on, Tracy and Charliey, is, I teach our children, if you can avoid a confrontation, please do. Okay. And they're like, Dad, but you're 6'1", 300 pounds. You weight lift, you do martial arts, you can kick anybody's butt. And I'm like, that's not necessarily true. Because one thing, Tracy and Charlie, I'm sure you guys can attest to, that you never underestimate anybody. And it's always the safest bet to exit, to avoid the confrontation. That keeps the lawsuits away and jail time away, for one. Okay? But
totally agree with you.
So it's always the best to exit. And even at the size that I am, and my teacher used to be 5'3". He was no more than 115 pounds, and he would fold me up into a pretzel. Okay, so you never overestimate yourself. And if you have these techniques to flee and escape, that's always the best method to avoid violence. Am I correct on saying this?
Yes, you are, most definitely.
And, I have to tell you, for children especially, they're faced anymore with bullying. They're getting tackled on the playgrounds. They're getting approached after school. So, distance is their friend. We always tell people, 7 to 10 feet in distance to keep that space whenever they can, so they don't find themselves in a situation or backed against the wall, and, they're able to get out of it. Because it's not about size. It's about being prepared and being aware.
Yes, ma'am.
That make sense?
Yes, ma'am. And I understand you guys also work exclusively with businesses and organizations. So can you explain that further? Like, what type of companies are your best clients, and, how can folks, get in touch with you on doing this stuff?
Our clients are a lot of colleges and universities, so we teach faculty and students. We travel nationally doing this, and a lot of companies hire us for their employees to show a value add that, they care about their employees and what's more important than their personal safety. Or they even offered for their clients as a value add. Thank you for being a great client. Instead of, a dinner or something, we're going to provide something for you and your family or your clients, personal safety.
Wow. So who are the best businesses? I know you work, with the organizations, but who are the best ones, you would say?
Well, whoever wants to invest in their employees. There isn't, the best
Good
one,
answer.
But, obviously, it's anybody, because we have companies sometimes that say, hey, I'd like to donate this to a cause, and maybe they know that there's a sexual assault center in their town, or maybe they have a domestic violence center there, and they want to get the help out to these people, somebody maybe that's already been a victim. So a lot of times they'll just come in as a sponsor and say, go out and do what you need to do. So that's why we travel around, because we want to reach everybody. We don't want to reach just a few people. That's why being on shows like yours and the television shows is the more people we can show, the more people that learn what we're teaching and how to escape, the better off everybody's going to be.
Now, I was reading about you guys, and you put up some facts that was very interesting. It said most potential abductors grab their victims on the street or lure them into vehicles. And also 1 out of every 6 American women have been the victim of an attempted or completed rape in their lifetime. How can you educate these women where if they are, attacked on the street or lured into a vehicle, get themselves out of it? Just a quick little example.
Well, the first thing is I'm going to tell you for the luring part, that one statistic you're talking about is more geared towards children. And YG was talking about before. One of the things that is so significant for people they don't think about is stranger danger, and everybody has heard that term. So instead of stranger danger, we want kids, and even up until their teens, we want them to think safe list instead. So you wouldn't be comfortable if a car approached you. You know, sometimes people will go and lean into the car. They'll go walk up to a car, or in your case, you talk to a camp counselor that you felt comfortable with them. If this is not a person who's on your safe list, which is defined as 5 to 7 people based on age, that your parents or whoever is your custodial guardian says, this is the only people that you can go with. They're on this list. If they're not on this list, you don't go with them, whether they're an acquaintance, somebody you've seen, whatever it happens to be. They're not on the list. You don't go with them. You don't trust them. They are not part of your circle. And it makes it, and the way I said it sounds a little more harsh, but you want to make it fun with the kids when you're doing this. Again, even through their teens, what color car do they drive? What color house does Aunt Sarah live in? What's her license plate number? Get the kids engaged, make it fun, so instead of them being afraid of everyone and looking at everyone as a stranger, they know who to accept as their circle of safety.
Wow, that's good stuff.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that, too, that you don't have to be nice. We teach our kids to be cordial with people, but we need to teach them that they also don't have to be nice to somebody. So talk about keeping your distance and having the safe list. Those are the most important things you can teach your kids.
It's okay to be rude, and even as an adult, it's okay to be rude. You can always apologize later. Your safety comes first.
Beautiful. Now, that's what I really, really like, because it's what I'm hearing you guys say. And like I said earlier, it's about empowering. And you're telling folks, it's okay for you to tell this person off. Like, I don't know you. No, I'm not coming over there. And especially to the children out there, this person is not one of the people designated to be a person to pick you up or to even talk to you in certain types of ways. And it's okay, even if this is an adult, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, leave me alone. It's okay to be rude and loud and get attention and say no. And,
you're right. Yes. Yes.
And that is the thing that I really, really like. But I also want to ask you this. Because you guys, since you said so eloquently, the Sonny and Cher of the martial arts world, because I work with my queen as well. Now, Charlie, let me ask you this. Now, when y'all get into an argument, are you willing to use techniques on each other?
Oh, my goodness.
I just wait till the next workshop, and then I just remind them, what we had discussed before. So,
see, and that's what I tell them.
Demonstrating it looks more effective that way.
Some days they're a little more aggressive on the workshops than others.
Because we do not forget, do we, Tracy? We just put it on the back burner and wait on our opportunity to attack. Yes, we do.
Well, you know something. See, we've come to a particular part of the show.
Wait, before we get there, I want to make sure, because I believe YG asked the question, but it wasn't answered. How do people get in touch with you and find out more about how to learn these techniques?
Well, we are on Facebook at SimpleSelfDefenseForWomen.com. They can go to our website, which is the same name, and we have a monthly newsletter that we send out to let people know where we're going to be, where they can participate in our workshops. If they want questions or information, they can reach out to us. And we're also on Twitter at Defense for Women. And I'll just mention real quickly that we will be out in Las Vegas in July doing a workshop that's going to be open to the community as well. So, whatever we're out there in the public and they're open to the public at no cost, we'll always put it out there on the page so people can see it. They can also give us a call. We're at area code 386-295-2043.
All right, good stuff. Now, Jared, if you could cue that music, because we have come to a segment of our show called the Love Shoutouts. And since, Charlie, if you're like me, you might say what you feel sometimes, and then when your queen look at you funny, you just apologize and say, I'm sorry, baby. But in this segment, this is called the Love Shoutouts, where we let the NYGHTSTORM Nation members send love to each other. And Toby, do we got anybody right now?
Yes, we do. We have Michelle, who is a loyal listener out in California, and she wants to send a love shout out to us.
Hey.
YG and Toby, she says that she listens to the show every week without fail. And yes, she downloaded iHeartRadio to her phone so she wouldn't miss a minute of Night Storm Radio. So we want to send that love back out to you, Michelle, and said thank you so much for listening to Night Storm Radio and being a part of Night Storm Nation.
Yes, thank you, Michelle. And Marcus wants to say thank you to his parents for everything that they have done for him. And as he prepares to graduate from college in a couple of weeks, and he wants them to know that he could not have done it without them. That's good stuff, Marcus.
That is, the parents is a thankless job sometimes.
I know, right?
And I want to send my love out to you, my dear.
Yeah, baby.
Thank you so much, YG, for all you do every day when you wake up and before you go to bed.
Yeah, after you beat me up. Now, anyway.
I demand. No, I'm just joking.
No, we got Tracy on the line, Charlie on the line, and Jared is in the studio, our producer, as our witness. And I will say that I would be remiss if I didn't say that I love you, sweetheart, and I appreciate everything that you do before and after the butt kicking.
Oh,
so
anyway,
and
you
also,
know what you really
now,
need to
Tracy and
stop.
Charlie, do you guys have anybody special that you would like to send a special love shout out to?
Oh, he's laughing. He's being shy. My love shout out will be to him. He's my partner in life, partner at work, and partner every day.
Mm-hmm. You better come correct, Charlie.
I'm gonna do the ditto back. From Ghost. Ditto baby.
Okay, Jared, do you have a love shout out, Jared? This is our producer.
I always have a love shout out.
Yes.
My love shout out is for my lady who is right now consoling her mother. Her mother is in the hospital, so
Okay.
we're all praying for her, of course. But my lady is a rock, not just for me, but for so many other people, and I love her dearly.
That's good stuff.
cool
We're going to definitely be
things.
praying for that one. Now, Tracy and Charlie, we want to thank you so much for being on Night Storm Radio. And Toe and I also want to give big thanks to Miss Deborah Bishop for also being a guest on our show. And I just want to say, Tracy and Charlie, I also want to give a love shout out to you guys, because as a married man and as someone who works with my spouse, it is especially beautiful when you see folks who love each other and who work together to bring a common good for the people. And I want to say we thank you for the special work that you're doing. We pray for much, much, much success in not just your business, but in your relationship and in your life. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you to Night Storm Nation for listening to Night Storm Radio. Next week, our topic will be alternative healing. And until next time, have a great week. Stay safe. Join us next Thursday right here on Love 860 AM, Thursday at 11 o'clock, Atlanta's inspirational talk radio station, because we are you.
Have a great week.